Good evening and welcome to our April 2024 Human Rights and Inclusion Committee. We are meeting today virtually. So every vote that we take will be on a roll call vote. And I will also ask if everyone can just mute themselves while they are not speaking. And then you can unmute yourself when you're speaking. I'm D. Joko, Chair of the Human Rights and Inclusion Committee. We will start by having Bill read the native land acknowledgement.
In keeping with our values of equality and inclusion, and to support those who experience marginalization, this evening's meeting will begin with a Native American land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that this meeting is taking place on the ancestral homelands of the Naugatuck and Agawam peoples. Historical evidence shows that the Naugatuck and Agawam peoples were merciful in their relationship with European settlers. However, the population, Graham, I'm trying to read something, Graham. Okay. Okay. However, their population depleted rapidly due to smallpox and the other pandemic old world diseases unknowingly introduced by earlier European settlers to the East Coast. To honor the Naugatuck and Agawam communities, along with other indigenous peoples who wait, Graham. I'm reading something.
Did he say good night?
Well, he tried.
Okay, come on.
To honor the Naugatuck and Agawam communities, along with any other indigenous peoples who inhabit these nations, now known as Danvers, Massachusetts, and who may be lost to history, let's take a moment to recognize the past, present, and future of indigenous peoples and reflect on our roles within settler colonialization. We acknowledge these ancestral grounds we have collectively gathered upon and support the resilience and strength that indigenous peoples have shown worldwide.
Thank you very much, Bill. And please send our
grandson.
Send our regard to Graham Jr. there. We can hear him. He was eager to read as well. So
yes, well,
sure you send him our regard from the HRC. That's a future member, I hope.
Future member.
Yes. I will move some items out of order. So I will have us go to item number 5, which is next gen equity and inclusion update. We're joined today with Janelle Ridley, who is the coordinator for next gen. She's here with Ava and I think there was someone else.
Isaiah.
Isaiah. Okay, I thought I saw Isaiah, but yeah. So Janelle is here to give us an update on what they've been doing and some upcoming programming. So Janelle, you can take it away.
Thank you so much, Dee, for having us here. Thank you for moving around some of the agenda items. I apologize. I'm actually away during the April vacation, but really wanted to join this evening's meeting. And so just an update with what we're doing with NextGen. We've had several great meetings with not just the young people, but Superintendent Bauer, as well as Principal Federico and Principal Cataloni of the middle school, who is really looking to sort of merge next-gen high school students with the middle school in hopes of really working together, as well as preparing the 8th graders next gen moving forward next academic year. But one of the things why we're here, and I have Ava and Isaiah, since they were part of the original cohort of Next Gen, is throughout the process of an continuing evolution of Next Gen, some of the work that I do in my other capacities, I was fortunate enough to have Brandeis sponsor a couple of the Danvers high school students on a trip to Montgomery, Alabama, where they were able to visit the Legacy Museum created by Brian Stevenson, as well as the Lynching Memorial. And the experience they were able to have with this sort of intergenerational collection of folks. And what I mean by that is, high school students as well as with older adults, and have conversation regarding the history of our country, but more in a holistic, understanding way, in order to really define knowledge and how educational shifts should occur, but how learning should occur as well through discussions and facilitations. So I'm going to turn it over to Ava right now, who could share more about her experience. She also was able, once she returned, to write a article which got published in the Heller magazine. So her first, journal piece as a high school incoming freshman at Babson University, where she's currently attending, is pretty significant for any young person to really sort of have their name start to be in this social justice space. So I'm going to turn it over to Ava.
Hi, can everyone hear me all right? All right, perfect. As Ms. Riley said, my name is Ava Newton, and I did partake in the internship with her, working with Brandeis University and the Heller School of Justice, and it was really an invaluable experience, I must say. It was something that you really can't get out of the academics here at Danvers High School, and that's not putting down Danvers at all. I think you guys do a great job in teaching, but this is just an experience that you really aren't able to get without broadening out to other people, especially going to Alabama and going to the Legacy Museum. It was just an amazing learning experience that I've never been able to see before, that Danvers especially can't offer. And I think it's great that Brandeis University and Ms. Ridley has given us the opportunity to research it and being able to understand, and just having, I guess, the opportunity to go on to to write an essays and just understand everything. It's just really important.
Thank you very much.
You're there if you wanted to share a little bit. I know I keep seeing him sort of pop in and out. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think he was just having trouble joining, but if you guys want to go.
Can you guys hear me okay? Okay. The trip to Alabama and the Legacy Museum was honestly an invaluable experience that taught me a lot about the true history of America that I don't even think not only that DHS could teach me, but most schools in America couldn't teach me. And the experience was first, it was intense. It's extremely emotional. It's an emotional experience. It's very intense as you sit there and truly learn the true history of our country and what it took for us to be where we are right now. And second, sorry. The second was just really, really, really educational altogether. I just can't put down I can't begin to describe how educational it was. I'm very sorry. We knew. We had some sense to an idea of the history of America and how things had truly been in this country, but we just didn't understand the scope and how bad things truly were. And I think it's an experience everyone should be able to participate in or experience at least once in their life. Yeah.
And giving us the opportunity to think deeper about it through having the spotlight at the Heller's Journal was also really important, because me and Isaiah got to sit down every week and just look into what we saw and really try to dig even deeper, more deeper than even the museum got to. And going to the museum, like Isaiah said, it was really emotional. Tears were shed, and we just got to see, and they showed how wonderful personal experiences that you don't really get to learn in school. In school, they kind of just teach you the broad of how it went, but they don't get to teach you personal experiences and what they personally had to go through. And it was just really important. I think that every person and every student should go there, and I just am so glad that we had the opportunity to even do that.
And so the reason why I'm here is because, this year, I wanted to be able to offer the opportunity to more of the Danvers community, not just, the next gen students, but some of the adults, educators, folks on the HRIC as well. And so part of my work and my research at Brandeis University was able to to include a couple of the students in joining last year's trip. It was I think we were there for like three days, because it takes a full day to sort of go through the museum, but also a day to sort of process everything that you're seeing and everything that you're experiencing, and to have truly intentional conversation, because the idea is not to leave anybody in a feeling of despair or distraught, or we can't change the past. It's happened, but we can learn from it so we can do differently as we move forward, but also understand why some of the racist comments, the jokes, the bias, and all of those things are significant to the impact and the emotional outcome of individuals and how they personally take that. And so part of my conversation with Jasmine and with Dee is really wanting to have more individuals experience this. And so hoping to go again towards the end of May, early June, for 3 days, and hoping the HRIC as well as other community organizations in Danvers are willing to sponsor a couple of students to attend, as well as any adults on the HRIC or within the Danvers community are also wanting to attend. I think it's an invaluable experience that you can't, as the students put into words, you can't experience any other way but to sort of go through it. But also something that you take back with you and really sort of leads a lot of the charge in the work you're going to do moving forward. So that's kind of what I wanted to sort of join in tonight's conversation and share with. And I'm happy to answer any questions, but I know I don't want to take up too much time. So
Thank you. Thank you so much, Janelle. This is just listening to the students speak. Yeah, you can't help but just be like, wow. So thank you for being vulnerable, and thank you for sharing those experiences with us. I mean, that's what I can really say. Thank you. I see Bill hands was up. Bill, if you want to unmute yourself, and then you can speak.
I don't think you're unmuted. I can't hear you. Bill, you're not unmuted.
Bill, you're not unmuted. Do you want to unmute yourself? Okay, he can't. Okay, I will, while he's looking at ways to unmute himself, I see, so I have Shilpa, Erin, and Dr. Charlie. So I'll start by Shilpa.
Hi everyone. Thank you, Ava and Isaiah, for sharing, and for Janelle for just investing your time in these kids and for all you're doing for them. I would love some more information about the sponsorship that you're looking for, how long the trip is, if you like to give us that information. That would be helpful.
I'll be more than happy to send over some information about what the objectives and sort of information about the trip, as well as sponsorship. It varies because of flight prices changes all the time, so that's why it was hard until we settled on a date for the end of May, early June. I've been trying to price out what would be the most cost beneficial weekend to sort of go, which wouldn't be as expensive, but happy to send that information over.
Thank you. I know this is sort of quick if you're looking at end of May, early June that you're going to the trip. So please send us that information and we'll see what we can do. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Erin, if you want to just unmute yourself.
I have, yep. Good to go. Thank you. So, first of all, just again, thanks to Janelle and Ava and Isaiah for sharing this. And so I have a question and a comment, and the question is, Janelle, just to clarify, are you the one that's like pulling the whole trip together, or are you joining in with a larger group? It sounded like you were part of a larger group.
So no, I'm pulling the trip together. I have been doing this for about 3 or 4 years now. This is my first time down to the museum. But yes, I'm the one pulling it together.
That's great. That's great. And as you know, because we've had conversations about my work with history and with youth and in the Southern U.S., this really is a passion of mine, and I would love to see more youth and adults from Danvers go. And I think it also becomes a really wonderful kind of cornerstone and conversation starter for conversations in our own community and on the North Shore, because we have our own related history here, of course. And oftentimes, though, the work that's being done in the South can actually lead us here in the North. So I think these trips are really, the return on the investment that we can see is big. So thank you for coming tonight and sharing this.
Oh, no, thank you for having me.
Thank you very much, Karen. Dr. Charlie?
My changing experience that they had in Montgomery. So that's absolutely critical and vital. I do think, based on everything that we've heard tonight, that this is definitely something that we as a community need to become involved with. We need to raise up Janelle's work, get more students involved, and make this experience such an eye-opening experience for students here in Danvers. I don't want to go on at length, but I want to just say that when I was at the high school, listening to the students, what they were saying is that what did they want their legacy at Danvers High School to be? And they wanted their legacy to be that they shared their experience. They shared what they learned, how their eyes were opened, how they understand their humanity and the complexity of it as it relates to the experience that we've all gone through in this country. Every single one of us on this call tonight, everyone in our community has been through the legacy of our experience in America. So this experience, I think, helps us broaden our way of thinking. It puts us in contact with more people, and I think it's wonderful. Finally, I want to say I've been going to the Edmund Pettus Bridge crossing many times in the past. It's not far from Montgomery. It was where the march from Montgomery and John Lewis was beaten to the ground in crossing the Edmund Pettus Bridge. So as students go, I think that that's another dimension of this discussion that we all can grow from and experience. So thank you very much for listening to me, and I'll pass it on to the next speaker.
And that is something I would love to add to the trip, is the Selma Bridge.
Absolutely. I'd recommend it highly. And I know people in Selma. An organization that I work with has a school that we're funding in Selma right now. It's a fabulous elementary school that's doing spectacular work in Selma. You should, if you go, you should visit there and meet the people at the school. Talk to some of the kids.
I would love to do that and add that as a component.
Oh, they would love to meet you. They would love to meet our students from Danvers. Oh my goodness, they'd be so freaked out. Believe me.
Thank you, Dr. Charlie. I don't see any other hands raised. I hope I didn't miss anyone on the screen here. Jorge. Or was that your hand raising, or? No. Okay, sorry. Well, again, thank you, Jeanette. I do believe that, and I can talk with Dr. Charlie, Paul, who is on the phone, and David McKenna, the members of the Friends. I think we should make an effort to have at least 2 of our members, if not more. I would love to go, at least even as a parent of a child at Danvers High School. But I think we should make an effort to send at least 2 of our members on the next trip. What do you all think? I mean, this is an amazing opportunity, and think about, Karen spoke of of conversation starter, right? You know, going there with our students, and when we come back and continue this work, you know, I mean, think of how beautiful and great this will be. Um, I'm seeing people nodding on the screen, which means that there seems to be an agreement that that will be a good idea. So what we will need is, Janelle, if you could share just the information about the the dates that you have chosen, then we will work with committee members to see the two members or more. I mean, if we can all go, that would be amazing. Like, I mean, imagine like all of us just
You have to post
just-
as a meeting.
Freedom Riders, Freedom Riders, let's go.
exactly. Or you know, HRIC from Montgomery, Alabama. You know, we can host our meeting from there virtually. But anyway, I do think that this is a great opportunity. Thank you again, Janelle, for the work that you do. Once we get that information, we will coordinate to let you know who are the members that have volunteered, and then you can coordinate with them on the logistics.
That would be great. And thank you guys again so much for your time. And as we're talking about legacy, it would be great if we can make this an annual thing every year between Next Gen and HRIC moving forward. So that's just a thought.
Yes. Yes. And another aspect of it too, and I know there's a lot of people on this call as well who know a lot of organizations out there. So if you know an organization who can sponsor another student or another community member, please reach out to Janelle, or if you let either Jasmine or myself know, we will reach out to Janelle, because unfortunately this takes funding to be able to send as many students as we can.
Thank
Absolutely.
you guys again so much for having us. And I look forward to continued conversation with each and every one of you.
Thank you. Thank you. You're all free to stay, and students, you're free to stay, but we will not be offended if you jump off. Thank you, Ava. Thank you, Isaiah. Thank you, Janelle.
Thank you so
This was
much. I'd
great.
love to stay, but I have to get to another meeting. I'm actually on Nantucket to do a conference. So I actually have to run and jump. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
I will now go back to this third item on the agenda, which is the approval of the minutes of our March meeting. So I need a motion.
So moved.
Okay. Remove. I need a second.
Second.
Second. Okay, so the motion was made by Dr. Charlie and it was seconded by Shilpa. So I will do a roll call vote. I'll just go in the order of the names on my screen here. Dave McKenna,
Aye.
Bill Graham. So Bill Graham is having difficulties with his microphone, but he's waving his hand in the affirmative. Donna Hopkins,
Yes.
Karen,
Aye.
Shilpa,
Aye.
Jorge,
Aye.
Paul Polak,
Aye.
and I am I. I don't think there's anyone on the phone that I missed. Oh, Johan Hunter.
Aye.
Okay, perfect. So that was a unanimous vote for the approval of the minutes of March. I will now move on to the next item of the agenda, which is a citizen query in case there's a resident on who has a questions, comment, concerns. Okay, I don't see anyone. I see an Alison Miller on. Is it? Okay. Here and now. See. I'll now move on to the next item of the agenda, which is the liaison update. And we will start by the school. Eric.
Hello, Dee, and everyone, and good evening. I just have a couple of items to discuss. One is that sort of ongoing things with the schools. We have hired a new director of student services. Her name is Christina Ryan. She's from Andover, and we're very excited about the perspectives and ability that she will bring to the student services department, which includes, work with students who have special education needs and everything from that to guidance. So we're very happy with having her join us. Our budget was approved and again was heavily weighted toward special education services and efforts to provide services in district for our students. It might have been 2 meetings ago, but the superintendent presented the accomplishments of the school year for all of the different schools. And I would note that every school, of the 3 goals that they had, at least one goal was devoted to safe and inclusive schools. And we've also had presentations from the elementary schools of late. I believe Smith School is at our most recent meeting. And I hope you get a chance to watch the meetings and the presentations because it's really heartening to see the work that the youngest students are doing, even in the elementary schools, about issues of including, being totally inclusive. And of course, we continue to work for that. And finally, 2 of our current members are stepping down. So at the end of the election in May, we will have 2 new members. There are 2 people running, but we can't assume that they will necessarily win. You could always have a write-in or whatnot. But so the look of the school committee will be different when we have our first meeting in May. And so that's really all I have.
Thank you very much, Eric. Any questions, comments? Yeah, none? Okay. Yes, Dr. Charlie.
I was just going to say, Eric, I'm glad that you are going to continue because you've been such a positive voice and an intellectual force on the school committee. And we're all fortunate that you carried your wisdom and your history with us to keep us moving forward in Danvers. So congratulations for your great work.
I appreciate that very much, Charlie. And I'm in my 2nd year of this term and probably working harder than ever in terms of things like negotiations. And but I appreciate the kind words. Thank you.
Thank you. Jasmine, you have a question?
Yeah, Eric, I'm just curious, are they gonna, like, when they get to the, oh, you know what, never mind. I'm trying to think, I was just thinking about how in the last go-around with school committee people, the process and how the public wasn't all clear about the process and the voting in and all of that, but is that gonna be outlined anywhere?
Well, this is different in the sense that I think you're referring to when we appointed Josh to fill an open seat.
And that was because he replaced a vacant position, right? So for this process, it'll be like the votes speak for themselves, and
this is part of the town election.
Yeah.
In the way Dee and 3 others are running for selectmen. We have 2 candidates for school committee, and they will be elected by the voters.
Yes, just making sure myself and the public are clear on the difference.
Yes.
Perfect. Shilpa has a question.
Yeah, who are the 2 candidates running? If you could tell us that.
Sure. Sean Doherty, and he is a, what's what I'm looking for? He's a paraprofessional in Lynn and a coach, longtime Danvers resident. And, oh my gosh, I'm zoning on the second.
Michael Shannon.
Michael Shannon, he is a Danvers, obviously Danvers resident. I believe he was employed for many years by the MTA. So both of these gentlemen have educational experience, and they are the only two who pulled and returned papers. But I've had the chance to talk with both of them, and my impression is that they're in this for the right reason. So I look forward to working with them, again, presuming that nothing changes between now and Election Day.
Thank you. And just for clarity, Sean Doherty and Robin Doherty, no relationship. They are not related. That's what I meant to say.
No, Sean was joking with me that the Seattle News named him Chair already.
Yes.
No, there's no relation. And be remiss if we didn't thank Robin and Alice for their service. They have had certainly an impact on the schools in their single term. So we certainly appreciate that.
Thank you, Eric. Pastor Voigt.
Yes, hi, thanks, Dee. Good evening, everybody. There's no report that I have for tonight's meeting. Danvers Interfaith Partnership did meet this week, but there's nothing to forward on for this committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor Voigt. And I do know, and I don't know if Jasmine had that in her, just to complement that, if she had it in her note, Light the Night Purple is going to be on May 15. I think it's Wednesday, May 15.
That is correct.
And Maple Street Church and Pastor Pam and people at Maple Street have been involved to the organization of this event for many, many years. It's a small walk from the library, going down Maple Street and coming back to the library. And it is an evening where the community comes together to, just lift the voices of the people who are struggling with substance abuse, but most importantly, lift the stigma associated with that disease, because very often people do not seek help or because they don't want to be stigmatized. So it is it's always very inspiring. I've been going to that event for years. I participated in the organization of the event in the past. There are different tables from different organizations. I'm usually there with the Board of Health. It's done by Danvers Cares, but Maple Street Church is always very involved on that event as well. So May 15, I believe it's 6 o'clock in the evening at the library. So great event, and I will encourage everyone to attend. Lieutenant Rob.
Thank you, Dee. Hi, everybody. Just to mention, this past week, our department hosted a training for our officers as well as officers from area departments that focus on crisis, de-escalating, and street negotiating. It's a one-day course designed to provide practical and realistic guides for officers who are responding to barricaded subject incidents. This was planned before we had our recent barricading subject incident, but it did kind of go hand in hand. Some of the situations that they addressed during this course is teaching how to work with individuals who are threatening suicide, domestic incidents where family members may be held hostage, suicide by cop situations, as well as offenders who have been caught in the act of committing crimes. Some of the highlights that they covered for each of these are helping the officers determine when they may need an immediate response versus slowing down and negotiating with individuals, slowing the scene down. Also, finding ways to begin and sustain productive communications under high stressful situations. Also, recognizing and developing skills like active listening, which people may not think when we're responding to a high stress situation. Sometimes we're the ones who are we might be giving the instructions or giving the orders, but it's also important to listen and understand what's happening from other people's perspectives who may be involved in the call, and then also recognizing situations where applying time to our advantage could be useful, especially in these types of stressful scenarios. Recently, there's been a lot of work done in law enforcement dealing with mental health crises and looking at we would like to think we can actually send a clinician to each of these calls. Very often we can't. So we're the ones who were sent and we're not clinicians. So there's been a lot of review and study done on in very different calls how very different responses have changed outcomes. We've done a lot of review where instead of going into a house right away, if officers may have stayed outside, maybe gathered some more information from a family, it could have prevented some of the violent interaction, some of the shootings that we see on television, where if the officers didn't go into the house and maybe waited outside, got some more resources, or waited longer to get clinicians, could that have made a better result from the family, get them the actual help that they needed on the scene, and kind of recognizing which ones we do need to deal with right away, and the other ones where we can slow down, take some time, and get some additional resources. So it sounds like it was a very positive and productive training for our department and officers from surrounding communities.
Thank you very much, Lieutenant Up. Any questions, comments? Thank you. That's great. We'll now move on to the next item of the agenda, which is the DEI report out. Dashmin?
Yes, thank you all. So I have a couple things. First, I just wanted to share about just a recent experience I had. Human Resources launched what they're calling HR on the Road, which is an initiative where they intentionally go to departments even outside of town hall to strengthen relationships, to build proactive relationships. No surprise, human resources and equity and inclusion, we tend to have that negative stigma of if you're going there, you're in trouble. So in order to break that and strengthen those relationships, they're making this effort, and I'm fortunate that they let me tag along. So our first stop on the road was with the fire department, and it was a really great opportunity that I wanted to share about, because there were actually two key equity issues that came up when it came to our firefighters that I did just want to elevate, because even for me it was a really impactful and eye-opening moment. And the first is just understanding that one of the biggest threats in that community, in that profession, is accessing mental health resources. So in a field dominated by men, combating the stigma of men navigating mental health seemed like a major inequity barrier that they're really trying to make intentional efforts to combat that stigma, to get these heroes the support that they need. And again, that's not one that we really think about, but not to get all like educational, but when you think about the patriarchy, right, here are negative impacts on our men. So them naming that and being aware of that and trying to make change was really moving, and I'm working with HR, like wherever we can lend support to that is really exciting. The second thing that blew my mind actually as well is that they are actually disproportionately at a higher risk for cancer. That's not the surprising part, but it's not just from smoke inhalation. It's actually also used, it's also coming from the very gear that they wear. So the plastics and chemicals and things that are used to make their uniforms flame retardant, on the flip side, contain these chemicals like PFAS and these other things things that we've heard of that increase their risk of cancer. And so there's not a lot of available health gear or available gear right now that doesn't have these harmful chemicals. So right now, the biggest thing to combat that is increasing like screenings and things like that is the closest thing they have to preventative measures, which I also thought was fascinating because these types of screenings are not ones that if you go for your annual checkup, especially for those who are on the younger end of the age spectrum, these are not things that men in their 30s or 40s are typically being screened for. So it does become this added cost. So I just wanted to, share these because it surprised me. And I know that in our community, there is a lot of passion around supporting first responders. So it was a great opportunity to engage with them around some of these challenges and think about like building those relationships to think about how we can support that need in the future. The second thing I wanted to report out was it just last week? I attended a Metro Regional Disability Inclusion Summit in Dorchester, and this was really a day to think about inclusion from the perspective of people with disabilities. Not only did our very own Shilpa, along with our former librarian Max, participate in a fantastic panel, but there was a lot of interesting and tangible takeaways, thinking about adaptive toolkits and other connections that need to be made to further our work of access. And a reflection I had on that is that oftentimes the DEI conversation and access and accessibility conversation are almost posed as separate rather than really seeing them as these interlocking and overlapping fields that need support. And so it really is pushing me to think about how do we bring more conversation about access into this space? And then how do we bring more DEI conversation into our Accessibility Commission? I also learned about the hidden curriculum, and these are sets of lessons that are learned, but not openly intended to be taught as norms or values or beliefs, and that can be in a classroom or in a social environment. So a quick example of hidden curriculum, think about your first time, for those of you who've joined this committee more recently, and just the expectation that we all know how to conduct a public meeting, or our kind of shared anxiety around violating open meeting law. These are part of that hidden curriculum of running a public meeting that we might not be as familiar with, but are suddenly expected to know. So I thought that was pretty eye-opening for me. So those are just two kind of impactful things that felt worthy of bringing to your attention. Two upcoming events. The Danvers High School is having a multilingual family night on Monday, May 6th from 5:30 to 7 p.m. at the high school. This is an intentional opportunity for any students, but also our students coming from the Emergency Assistance Program to learn about the Danvers High School curriculum, to tour the school, get some food. They will have interpreters available. And Mary has said if there's anyone interested from this committee in showing up just to be another friendly face or provide additional support and visibility, that's open to everyone. So I'll be sending a flyer along for that. Even further in the future, that our annual Juneteenth ceremony is going to be on the Monday, June 17th, 2 to 3 in front of Town Hall, and we're bringing back North Shore Juneteenth Association to do that programming for us. So those flyers I'll be following up with to you all, but that's what's going on my end.
Thank you very much, Jasmine. What time is the multilingual family night again?
Yep, 5:30 to 7 p.m. They're going to do food first and then the tours and the other stuff.
And that will be at the high school?
Correct.
Okay, 5:30 to 7 p.m. Thank you. Thanks for sharing. I mean, it's amazing, and that's the power of education, right? What you just share about your encounter with our first responder is something I know, but I've never thought about, and it's never been in the forefront of my mind, and that is where this comes in. Always trying to educate ourselves and learn more. So thank you for sharing that. Next will be Shilpa.
Shilpa has a question. Shilpa has a question.
Is that a new hand or an old hand, Shilpa?
That's a new hand.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And I'd love for Shilpa to share her experience from the Inclusion Summit a little bit if she wanted to as well.
Thanks, Jasmine. I just wanted to add, so we do have the Elliott Crisis Center in Danvers, and I'm wondering if that is a collaboration that we could make. I'm not clear. Rob, I don't know if you have any more information on Elliott. I remember doing a webinar where they said you could do walk-ins for anything, but I need to double check on that. I don't know if Rob has any more information. I know we've talked about Elliott before. But they are in our town, and they might be a great resource if we wanted to reach out to them. The second thing I was thinking about in terms of accessibility for our planning committees, it might be beneficial to have someone from the accessibility committee on our planning committees as we going forward. So that's something that I thought about before and forgot to mention, but that Jasmine kind of reminded me about that when she was talking about it. As far as the Inclusion Summit, it was fantastic and amazing. I was representing the library when I went, and Max McConnell, my colleague, and I were talking about accessibility in libraries and some of the work that we've been doing with Northeast ARC, that is also in Danvers. We were introduced to Northeast ARC through the Accessibility Committee. We had been to a few of the meetings, and Mara, who's on the Accessibility Commission, had asked if we wanted to come and do a tour. And they have so many amazing things at that facility. They do have a assistive technology lending library. I don't know if people know that. Assistive tech can be very expensive. So this is such a great resource for people who want to go and try out tech before they buy it. They have a fantastic person who is curating the equipment. If you wanted to go and meet and talk with him, make an appointment. It's something that we're hoping to also amplify at the library. But it was so great to see folks come out from different professions and talk about accessibility and what they've been doing. Honestly, I didn't think that I had a lot to share from my perspective. I just learned a lot from being there and listening to other folks and seeing what we could implement in small ways, even within the profession, within the town. So it really was, it was a fantastic event. It was, I was just really honored to have been asked to be on the panel and to be there and meet other people who are working, actually doing, this every day, working in accessibility every day, and there was some great things that they shared.
Thank you very much, Shilpa. Karen has a hand up.
I was just going to flag remember that at last month's meeting, Christy Farrar, the chair of the Accessibility Committee, came and spoke to us. And I noticed on Instagram today, they're going to be having an event next week from tonight at Northeast ARC in Liberty Tree Mall. So if any of us can just be there again to support, I think that would be really important. So Jasmine, do you want to name the time for that?
Yes, and oh my goodness, shame on me for not putting that in my report. They are having the first of 2 public forums. So again, the first one is going to be disability in the schools, and it will be, as Karen said, in Northeast ARC, which is located near the AMC and Buffalo Wild Wings in the mall. It will immediately follow their regular commission business. So their meetings start at 6. They're going to take maybe 15 minutes or so to go over their business, and then the rest of the time these sessions are really intended to listen and share and start to create space to elevate voices of people with disabilities in the community. So the first one being about schools, they're hoping we're going to have students, like it's going to be from the mouths of students or stories shared from students on behalf of students. And then next month, May, I want to say 23rd. So the fourth Thursday of the month when their meeting is, we'll be back in town hall to do the same for disabilities around town. And again, this is just to tell everyone, we're also inviting people from the town departments and from the schools even to come in and sit and listen so that they're hearing first person about these experiences, and so that we can start elevating these conversations in our community, because I can tell you there's a lot of people with disabilities in our community who have reached out for support, and very much by the time they get to me, they've been dismissed or unheard so many times that they are very downtrodden by the time I'm speaking to them. And so this is a great opportunity to really flip that narrative and proactively hear from them about what they need and what they're experiencing. So thank you so much, Karen.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments? Not hearing none. So Shilpa, you can continue with and give us an update on the Massachusetts Human Rights Commission. Did they have a meeting?
They did have a meeting, but I don't have anything to share out at this point.
Thank you very much. MLK banner. As we all know, we had a great banner that was done by the students, the community, with the help of the art teacher in the Danvers public schools. Everybody was so invested in this banner. It's finally done. It's finally out. It looks amazing. I think Jasmine had a first pick of it, and that's what she has on the background of her phone, her screen, computer. So now the intent, and if you remember, our theme for this year MLK was Move Like King. That was the theme of moving like King throughout Danvers throughout the year, and the goal was that we get this banner and we find ways to have it lived in different places within the town throughout the year and kind of generate conversations. Let's say we get it to the high school, and maybe they will have teachers, students, or whatever, or we'll have a conversation. How do they move like King? How do you move like King within the schools? It goes to HR, and they could have that conversation. How do you move like King? How do we move like King, either individually or as an organization? So I just wanted us to kind of think about what we think should be the next step, and how do we organize that, and what kind of time frame do we give, and where should that banner go? Anyone?
Come back and share it in May. I mean, we want to get this started. So I'm not saying we have a talk and then wait until May, but maybe get the ball rolling. So I don't want to slow it down, but I think it may take more thought than we have time for this evening.
Okay. Thanks, Karen. Shilpa?
I didn't know how to lower my hand, but I am in agreement with Karen with everything she said.
Okay. So my thought was, how about this? And I totally agree with you, Karen. But I do know that before we display it in any town place or department, we need some kind of approval. I don't know what the process will look like, but I maybe David might know, or Paul. If it's not like a banner that we're gonna put on the street. This is just something that people can take and just display for 15 minutes or keep it for a week in the office. I'm not sure. We got to think through it. But at a minimum, I know one of the ideas was that it could be displayed in front of the select board during their meetings, and or maybe at least one of their meetings, and maybe they take 5-10 minutes and talk about on the agenda, how do they move like King. When it goes maybe to the police department, I don't know, Lieutenant Rob, do we need permission from the chief, or is that a town manager decision?
I'd bring it right in. No problem at all.
Okay, David, how does that work? Do we get approval from the select board just to display it in front of them, or do we get approval to bring it everywhere else?
Good question, D. I think as long as the selectmen approve, it can go on the front of their podium. And I don't see why they object. But as far as going other places, I'm not sure just what the process would actually be. I think someone could probably talk to Steve or the town clerk and see what the process is for getting approvals on that.
Okay.
I've been out of the loop too long.
I see a hand from Sawdust. I don't know if it's a resident that has a
Johan.
It's Johan.
I apologize. That's just the email that I have on Teams. And I
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know Johan was here. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. So I was going to say that, I do think that having it in the public places is important, and there might be some sort of approval process that might, take a little bit of time, but maybe we should also consider some of the private areas that don't require that approval process. For example, religious institutions that support the moving like king, maybe they want to create an audio saying how they move like king or something like that. And even the private institutions that we have in Danvers, the St. Mary's, the St. John's Prep, maybe they want to hang it up someplace and say something about how they move like king while we're waiting on the approval process for the other public places.
Okay, so that means so how do we go up? Could we at a minimum get, I think the one thing I think we do need to have approval for at a minimum is displaying it in front of the select board. Can we bring that to them next meeting, which is in May? And I would need some volunteer to kind of draft a strategy, and maybe you can come up with a calendar too. And as to, like Johan just gave another idea that I personally had not thought about, but I'm sure there are a lot of private businesses and religious places that would love to have something like that. And that could also allow us to continue to build that partnership. I guess, Jasmine, you have a hand up.
Yes, just to elevate that, I do think to bring it to select board, you would need, as Dutriche said, like the plan. So how long you would want it there, when you would want it there, and why. I also noted that, so I can touch base with Kathy and Clerks and Steve about if there's any additional process beyond that. I also wanted to note again that for this plan, you need places. I would say the frequency, like how long you want it up, the order that you want it, and then who, like delegating who is the person bringing it from one place to another. Because if we don't have those kinds of things or structure, the ball will get dropped.
Okay. So I know we said we need time to think about it, but if, again, while we're here, I'm thinking 1 week at a location, and if we have a week without a location, it can live in town hall until the next time we're gonna have it at a specific location, or 2 weeks. I don't know. And what are those places? I'm thinking select board, to me room. I'm thinking different town departments, especially the ones that are outside of town hall. So maybe within town hall we can have it in HR for a week. Then DPW for another week or 2 weeks. Then fire, then police, and maybe different schools, and we can keep it in different school, the churches, and then the downtown businesses. What do we think? Yes, Lieutenant.
I just wanted to offer if whenever the plan's made, if we need help getting it around, we've got a bunch of drivers and a bunch of cars, so we can assist in bringing it from place to place. We're 24/7 coverage, so instead of trying to get your schedules to line up when it needs to be someplace in a certain day, it'd be pretty easy for us to get that moved around.
That's amazing. That's already a big help, because again, my concern is that, like, I'm hesitant in putting a subcommittee together to kind of think about this, and then that becomes another subcommittee and another coordination, and then we come back next month. And so I think we can just do it right now. Where do we want that banner to live? Where, I would say each one of our 7 schools. Now the summer is coming up, so that will only start in September for the schools. I would say in May we bring it to the select board, display it at their meeting. Then June, with Juneteenth coming up, we can start by 2 weeks police, 2 weeks fire. I'm the only one talking. I'm just, are we in agreement, or? I think we should do it right now.
I just wanted to say, I think if it's going around for like an entire another, 10 months again until February, then it probably could stay places longer. Because, for example, if we only have 6 places, then it could probably stay there for like, I don't know, a month and a half each place. So, I guess once we have the list of places, then we can divvy the time up kind of evenly, Or if we wanted to stay in town hall longer than other places, then, then that's fine.
Okay, so thank you. Yeah, so what we probably want to do is give the list of places. Okay, so let's agree on the places. We said town hall. Are we all in agreement? So town hall is the first one. Then we have the library.
Absolutely.
Police department. Fire. Yes, Pastor Doug.
What if we started this whole process off with finishing the school year off with it at the high school, so the high school seniors have it as a departing sort of challenge for them as they move into the world and move into graduation and that sort of thing. It's kind of a great way for them to move into the world. Just an idea. So that being the beginning place at their ending and their launching into the world. Just an idea.
I like that idea. So, and what we could do for that, say we have schools, that means we could bring it at one of the school committee meetings and make our proposal and have the school committee vote on it and maybe even decide what school it goes to, in which case will be the Danvers High School. Right. With the proposal of it starting off at the high school and at least finishing the school year off with that kind of being a hope or a mantra for the graduating seniors or for this graduating class moving into the world. And then at that point decide where we want to shift it next, moving in through the summer months, and then maybe have it in September for the beginning of a school year again, maybe at a different school, kind of launching into the next school year, but move it around throughout the summer in some of the town hall offices, that sort of thing, maybe some churches, etc., but figuring out that sort of map, but use it timely in the school as a poignant sort of message. Okay. So we will also need to draft a little, maybe a message stating like, okay, the human, like what our goal is, what our intent is. We want this is a product of the community. We want it to live at different places within the community for a certain number of time. as a conversation starter for people to just talk about how they move like king every day throughout the year. Can I get a volunteer to draft just say one paragraph for me or for us? I saw Karen's hands it up. Yes, Karen, you have the floor.
I'm just volunteering to draft it.
Okay.
Or I know other interested parties.
Perfect. So we draft that. I have town, library, all the town department, library, police, fire, schools, and private businesses, which we can add on as we go, churches, other private entities. I think you had even spoke of St. John's Prep, ESSEC Tech. I mean, we have a lot of places we can continue to really build that sense of community with this artwork. Now,
Jasmine has a list in the chat too, Dee.
Oh, perfect.
But I'm updating it as we go. It's a couple minutes outdated now. But I will get Karen a list.
Karen, do you think this is something we'll be able to, at least this, and judgment is, you will not have everything that you were saying, but at least in principle, I think we can bring the idea to select board in their next meeting and at least agree on the principle part of it. And yeah, senior center, I like that. Agree on the principle, and then we will update the list with the respective departments as long as the select board is on board with the concept. Just like at the school committee, if they agree on the concept, then the different schools can be in different orders and at different times. So you will not have everything as detailed as we want, but at least I think having that general agreement in the concept will be primordial, and we can work on the details. Are we in agreement with that? I see some nodding. Okay, perfect. Yes, Jasmine.
Who's going to present it to select board and school committee, and when are those dates so that people have them to work backwards from?
Good question. The next select board meeting is, hold on, I gotta pull my calendar, apologies. Eric can help us with the next school committee date while I'm looking for the next select board.
Selectmen will meet the Thursday after Election Day.
And school committee, let me just check the calendar.
Now, David, will that be a regular meeting, or is a meeting to bring in new members and they have a set agenda?
Usually it's a very brief meeting, swear in the new members, choose a chair. There might be some business conducted, but usually it is a fairly truncated meeting.
Now, do you think it will be appropriate for this committee to bring the item that we're discussing now to that meeting?
I think it would be, especially since that chair is now going to be a selectman as well.
Okay.
The first meeting after the election would be on May 13th for the school committee.
Okay. And same for the school committee, Eric, you're gonna have new members for sure. Will it be a meeting where there's already some predetermined business for, like, by law of a new meeting, or you just have like a normal meeting?
Well, we have a normal meeting usually with a regular agenda, but the first part of the meeting involved picking a new chair and secretary and some housekeeping. But we generally have an actual agenda and a full meeting that night.
Okay, so I have 5:13 and 5:17. Is that right? What's the
Dave, did you say the Thursday of the same week of elections, or the 9th, or like the next Thursday, which is okay.
2 days after the election.
Okay, so we have 5/9 and 5/13. So 5/9 is select board, and 5/13 is school committee. So anyone who is able to attend either one of these? Any? I see Paul. Paul just unmuted himself. Do you want to say something, Paul?
No, but if you're looking for someone to attend the select board meeting in favor of this, I don't have a problem with appearing.
Okay, so we have Paul for 5/9. Anybody else? And again, everyone can come. I mean, every time I've gone to the select board meeting, it's very helpful to have other members of the committee there. But at least we need to have a couple of folks, say that they're going to be there, even if other members are able to attend after. So I have Paul can go on the select board for 5/9. Anybody else?
I should be able to be there as long as nothing else comes up.
D, I have a question, D.
Yes?
Is there going to be a prepared statement? Is that what Karen's working on?
Yes.
And any background information they need, as Karen said, we started this off basically with the most recent Martin Luther King tribute. This is a product of the tribute of the MLK Day.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we necessarily need like a background per se. This is something that will just be a continuation of our MLK celebration. We said we were going to do this. We've informed them of this idea before, and this is just coming back full circle. I see Karen's hand is up.
I'd just like to float the suggestion that this might be a really appropriate opportunity for us to show up in front of the select board and the school committee in ways that we don't always show up. And so that we possibly consider that 2 people would actually make this presentation together at each committee meeting.
I totally agree with you, Karen. So we have Paul and David for who are committing to the select board on 5/9, and they can, and I will still encourage them if they're able to go to the school committee as well. Anyone that can go to the school committee on 5/13.
What day is that?
That's 5/13 is
Monday.
That's Monday.
And the 5/9 is a Thursday?
Thursday, yes.
They start at 6:30, right? Select board?
Yes. 6:30 is select board, and
I should be able to make that, yeah, okay.
School committee is 6:30 or 6 o'clock, I think.
Generally speaking, we've been starting at 6:30.
Yeah. So 6:30 for both. So I need 2 people for the school committee.
I'll take that one. I can get all the wrinkles out the first night.
Okay, so Paul can go to the school committee as well. Anybody else?
Is the school committee on the 13th?
Yes.
Okay.
Where is that being held now, Eric? Is that at the HRMS?
It is it's at the middle school in the large room on the second floor, the multi-purpose room.
Okay. Anyone else want to join?
Yeah, I'll sign up to join Paul on the 13th, but I need all the details so I know what I'm doing. But yes, yeah.
Just second my motion.
Okay, perfect. So we do have Paul and Dr. Charlie for the 13 at school committee, Paul and David McKenna for the 9 at select board. And I saw in the chat, Donna saying that library trustee is on the 8th, Wednesday, the 8th, for the library trustee. I think
we already have 2 people right there. We have Charles and Donna.
Actually, That's true, actually. They will be there.
And 3, Shilpa often attends. I'm happy to present it, or Charlie and I can.
Perfect. So we have on 5-8, we have Dr. Charlie and Donna for the library trustee.
Did Charlie agree? I said he'd do it.
I thought I agreed for 5/13th.
No, I thought you were going to be at the library trustee meeting on 5-8.
Oh, I'm going to be at the library trustee meeting automatically. Yes, I'm a trustee.
Exactly. So we double dipping here.
Okay. Yeah, I can. Yeah, I'll join Donna at the library board meeting. That's
exactly. So we're trying to leverage our resources in a very efficient way here. And then I'll encourage all the other members, if you are able to attend. I mean, I think it's always a good idea to have as many people as we can. Yes, Paul.
Will Jasmine have talked to Steve? You said something about, originally when we got into this conversation, we know we're going to go to the select board, but should we run, are you going to run anything by Steve? And you mentioned someone else.
I can. I'm like, don't drag me into this, Paul. No. Happily. I will continue with your plan. I will, before you get to the select board, if there's anything you need to know from Steve in addition to that process or what that should look like, you will have that information. I can prioritize just tipping him off within the week.
Yeah, thank you very much.
So am I going to be joining Paul on the 13th as well at the school committee meeting?
Yes, okay. You are. The 8th, we are just double dipping.
Oh, okay. I got it. Thank you. No problem.
The 8th is not extra.
No, the 8th, I'm going to be at that meeting anyway.
Exactly. Perfect. This is great. So we have a plan for the banner, at least an initial plan and an action plan. I like it. I'll move on to the next item of the agenda, which is scholarship subcommittee update. Donna? Oh, I'm sorry. Before you move on, before you speak, because earlier I did not realize that Johan was on. Johan, is there anything else that we needed to add on the banner proposal, or are you okay with the plan?
No, I think it's good. I think the plan is good.
Perfect. Thank you. And now move on to the next item, which is scholarships subcommittee update. Donna?
And I don't have an update. I didn't know I was making a presentation tonight. I'm just a member of the committee, so I didn't know I was supposed to do that. So I do not have an update right now. I know information was sent out to everybody. I'm unmuted. Information was sent out and we need to review it and make the nominations. But other than that, I don't have a lot of information.
Okay, thank you. I see Chopin hands is up.
Yeah, so I know Karen had replied to the mail and asked for a deadline by which we need to finish reading the application, so that would be good to have.
I thought that was in the letter, but I'll go back and see. Who's chair of this committee?
You.
We have me? That's worse than what I did to Charlie. Okay. All right. I'll see what I can do. Yeah. I'll see what I can do and get a, because I know the dates of everything. So let me see if I'll pick a date that everything needs to be in. So.
Let me see.
I just pulled it up. Please submit recipient names by Friday, May 3rd for our efforts. And then the awards ceremony, which is good for you all to know now, is Thursday, June 6th at 6 p.m. in the DHS auditorium.
But that's the school wants the names by the 3rd, correct?
Yes.
May 3rd. Names to the school.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Can someone just send me a text or something after the meeting of who's on the committee?
Yep. you're everyone's on an email together too, so in case you need to refer back to it, you, Bill, Shilpa, Karen.
Okay.
And if this is helpful, what well, and I don't know how you're doing this because May 3rd is right across the place. What, 2 weeks from now? 2 weeks from today. So what we've done in the past and is everybody reads their applications and rank the candidates, and then we meet to discuss the application. And in the past, it's only been one meeting really. And I mean, and Paul, keep me honest here. 99% of the time, we've always been close to unanimous into
Yeah,
one, two, three.
The only thing that always comes up is you're going to give it to one person or two.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's what happens. Yeah.
So, that's a way to do it, but you probably want to have a deadline to meet as a group, probably in a week or something, so that you have the names out.
Okay.
The only thing I don't know, Dee, is I don't know if I don't recall whether the subcommittee who basically chooses the one or two students brings it before the whole committee to approve it. And if we have to do that, our next meeting will be beyond that date. So we may have to do something on Zoom for 5 minutes. I think. I don't think there's any way we can get out of it, but I think that's a possibility. We make a decision. Once you make a decision, run it to D, and we're just going to have to get something together probably for 4 or 5 minutes, and these are the names. We accepted a name, and that's it.
That is a very good point, Paul. So looking at the calendar, today is the 18th. So next Thursday is the 25th. And they need it by Friday of the following week. So if the committee is able to make their decision by the 25th, then we have a couple days to do an emergency or a Zoom meeting with one item of the agenda, which is the approval of the scholarship recipient. That's one thing we can do. Another thing we can do, and David, let me know if that's allowed, we can delegate the subcommittee to make that decision on behalf of the committee. So we don't necessarily have to reconvene, but we will just give them the authority to make that decision. Is that something that's allowed, or members will prefer for us to reconvene to make that decision together? What do we have any preference either way?
David.
Is it allowed, David? Can we tell the subcommittee that whatever decision they make, we're going to live by? Or do we need to have them come back for us to approve it?
Can he hear you, Dee? Okay.
Are you asking me? Are you
Yes,
asking
I'm
me?
asking. Yes.
Good question. I think whatever the committee decides they want to do will be fine. As long as you have a public vote on what you want to decide. Or actually, I'm not even sure you need a public vote on it. I don't know that we've done a public vote in the past, have we?
Yeah, we have. We've done it at a regular scheduled meeting.
Okay. Well, we probably should do the same then. That's what we've been doing. Whether we do it with a special Zoom meeting, if we don't have it ready in time for the regularly scheduled meeting.
Okay. So
we don't have time to do more.
I think if you have a meeting, you have to have a couple of days' notice, publicly posted meeting.
Exactly. So if that's the case, Shilpa, is that in your hand? Okay, so if that's the case, I would like the subcommittee to get us those name or that name by no later than 4/26.
When are we going to have, I'm sorry,
Yes, Donna?
when are we going to have the Zoom meeting?
Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out now. So if we get the name by 4/26, we don't have to get the name before we have a Zoom meeting. So maybe we can have a Zoom meeting on
the 29th or 30th.
No, the 29th. I'm just looking at the calendar. That's Monday, and the 30th is Tuesday. Yeah, we can schedule one either that Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday.
Yeah.
Or Thursday for that matter. Jasmine, what do you think? It's going to be a quick 15-minute meeting. What day would?
I advise against waiting till Thursday, the day before, just in case. But it's really up to you all. I think that the last time we called an emergency meeting of this nature, it might have been like a Wednesday, like 8 or 9, and you all were in and out in about 15 minutes. It wasn't full turnout, but you had quorum, so you were fine. And then as long as I know, like I could, if I have the information now, I could literally post it tomorrow, you know?
That's what I was thinking. We are not going to call it emergency meeting. We're just going to call it
public.
I don't know the term.
I'll look into the language that we used for the last time we did this.
Yeah.
Improv.
So it'll be a meeting, but it's not emergency because we can schedule it right now. Is there do people have a preference that week of the 29th? What day will work for most folks? And early morning, midday, or evening for a quick 15 minutes touch base?
Evening, and preferably Monday or Tuesday because I have classes on Wednesday night.
Okay. Jasmine, is there a public meeting on Monday the 29th? Is there anything at Town Hall?
Does it matter if you're doing this virtually?
Well, if people want to attend the budget hearing or something like that.
You talking about this coming Monday?
The 29th.
I don't have my calendar in front of me, but
Pulling it up.
Monday, I've got a meeting Monday and Wednesday of this coming week. That's FinCom.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to check.
The only thing I see right now for April 29th is a Danvers cyclical inspection.
Cyclical inspection program.
Okay, perfect. So let's schedule that Monday the 29th. What time do folks? Should we do 7 p.m. or earlier or later?
5:15 works for me. Jasmine, that'll be after your work hours, though.
I'm out of office that day anyway, and you don't need me for a vote, so you are fine.
Okay.
Thank you, Shilpa.
What time are we talking about, Shilpa?
D, is 5:15, 5:30 too early for you?
No, it's not. I mean, it's a Zoom meeting, so we can take it from wherever we are.
Yeah,
So
5:30 works for me. I don't know about everybody else. Donna, Paul, Karen?
I'm fine.
okay.
Karen?
So Jasmine, we have 5:30 on Monday the 29th. We're gonna have a meeting. It's not an emergency meeting. It's just a meeting on Zoom with one item of the agenda, which is going to be scholarship. Perfect. And that's good. Any other discussion on the scholarship? Perfect. The next item is the Pride event update. Sherpa.
Okay, so we've had 2 meetings so far. We actually met today right before this meeting. It's coming along really well. we have a date which is Saturday, June 1st from noon to 3:30. We're looking at having the flag raising at Town Hall from noon for about 45 minutes and then going over to the lawn outside the library, and that will be till 3:30. The flag raising at the police department will be the Thursday, the first Thursday, which is June 6th, and we're still undecided on the time. We're thinking maybe 4:30 or 5 o'clock, if I remember correctly. Rob? Yeah. Right now, we're looking on getting sponsorships and finalizing our vendors. Unfortunately, Kona Ice, that is one of the food trucks we have every year, cannot be there this year. So we're looking into Cookie Monster to replace them. And of course, we're looking at Melt for the other food truck. Let's see what else. We do have Vocal Alliance from the school. They will be performing at the event. We have our drag queen story time set up. We have a couple of community volunteers as well on the committee. The Donovans, who helped us last year. We have Reverend Carol from the UU Church is also on our planning committee. We also have a couple of student nominations that will be raising the flag at Town Hall, and that's already in place. So we're in pretty good shape. Dee, I wanted to go over with you whenever you have the time. We're looking at Venmo and attaching that to our Friends account. So that's something that you and I can work on. And I'll get in touch with you offline for that. But we're in good shape. I don't know if anybody else on the committee wants to add anything. Paul or Rob. But I think we're in good shape.
We're all set. You know, Dee and I have talked about the funds helping out with the budget, and so we just have to go to work and clean everything up. I think we're in great shape right now.
And I just want to give a shout out to Lieutenant Sullivan because the police department will be doing our swag and decor again, and I know Rob has a whole table planned. I don't know if you want to share a little bit about that table, Rob.
Sure, thank you. So the chief, captain, and I talked about ways that we could continue supporting the event and looked for a way to do it to add to what we've done in the past few years. So this year we came up with the police department putting together a table for essentially a community pride collage. So we'll have a table set up with some markers with blank paper. Well, it's not blank paper, it's paper that's decorated on the side for pride colors, but it's blank in the center, where people can draw, they can draw their own artwork, or they can leave their own message, their message of pride for our community, and then they'll hang those pictures next to the tables. There'll be lines with clothespins, so they can hang their messages, and as the day goes on, more people attend, the collage gets bigger and bigger, and it'll be a giant message from what everyone's left for us for their message for Pride for Danvers.
Awesome. That's amazing. I think you said it. I just want to make sure that I got that right. So it's going to be 2 different dates. Is that correct?
Yes. So Saturday will be the flag raising at Town Hall and the celebration, the party on the lawn. And then Thursday will be the flag raising at the police department.
Okay. If I may ask, and again, I'm all for it. Is there a reason why we didn't want to do it all on the same day? Were there logistical challenges to do everything on the same day?
Yeah, so we were looking at the timing in terms of setting up, and we wanted to have the event done by 3:30, so it'll give us time to clean up because, again, the use of the bathroom or whatever, things need to go back in the library, and the library closes at 5. And we wanted to bookend it with having the flag raising at Town Hall and ending with the flag raising at the library. But we had a discussion, and Lieutenant Rob had a discussion with the chief, and we just felt that timing would not work for the police department. So we are going to have that flag raising. It's all the same event. It's just that the flag raising at the police department will be on the Thursday, so that we can have more people attend. And if it's a little later in the evening, maybe we could have families attend as well. So that's why we decided to split it up into 2 days.
Okay. And the Thursday at the police station, do we have a time yet?
No, we're looking at around 4:30, 5 o'clock, but Lieutenant Sullivan will talk to the chief and we'll have a confirmation on that time by the time we have our next meeting.
Okay. And will the police station one just be the flag raising, or there's going to be like an after flag gathering as well? Because in the past, what we've done is we have the flag there, maybe the chief or the captain, someone says a few words, and then we rush to town hall. So this being its own event, is the idea just that we go, people get the flag raised, and then everybody go about their way, or we're gonna have something there as well?
I'll let Rob answer that.
I I hadn't thought about that, but I'm open to a party anytime. So I'll make sure I have the night off. We can put the flag up, and we can all get together after the flag.
I'm sure Jasmine can bring her glow sticks.
Yes.
No, I mean, because it's something the subcommittee may want to think about, like, okay, especially if it's an afternoon or early evening, 4 or 5 o'clock, do we open the police training room for people to just go in and get cookies and water? And I think it could be very beneficial, because that would be another, I'm sure there are people who've never gone inside the police station, right? When they see police station, they turn around and go the other way. I'm not one of them, but
I do the same every time I drive to work. Try and drive right by it.
Exactly. But I do think that as the subcommittee, refine the plan, if the police department is having their own, and lieutenant and the chief are open to having a 10-15 minutes meet and greet and just mingling in the training room, or even outside if the weather is nice, I think that could be a good thing. Yes, Jasmine.
I do not want to be a buzzkill, and I want to still elevate capacity. We're getting into the territory of the reasons why we didn't do 2 separate events to begin with. It's a lot of work, and I do want to name and advocate for Shilpa and Rob, because when I look at the to-dos and that Excel spreadsheet, the names I see the most are theirs and mine. And so I am open to these ideas. I just want to be cognizant, again, of capacity. Because when we took on the initial endeavor of having those 2 split events, it was a lot of running around behind the scenes with logistics and things like that. So I love these ideas. I don't want to inhibit. I also just want to be mindful of the work, because we also have Juneteenth like a week and a half following that too. So if we're willing to take that on, that's fantastic. But just, wellness.
Thank you for killing my party, Joshua.
No, when did we switch places? I don't know.
Thank you for killing my party idea. Well, again, the way I was thinking about wasn't really, not to get a whole new thing. It was just giving the opportunity for people to stand around and talk for a few minutes before they depart. But again, it's up to the subcommittee.
Halfway, so.
You decide, and you guys let us know. Then I gotta move on. Wow, I thought this was maybe a 30 minutes meeting. This is very good. It's a lot of information, a lot of great things. Next thing on the agenda will be reappointment update. So I think there's a few of us that are getting reappointed this year, and there's a process layout. Jasmine have sent the email. I think I've heard from Sherpa Johan, and Dr. Charlie. So it's something that we do every year, and our terms are all staggered, as we all know. But at the same time, as we know, we also have a vacancy of the vice chair, and that has not been filled since Kristen left. So as much as, I think it's important, we have to fill that vacancy. And I always said, I'm not a lifelong chair, so my term, I think the next term in July, so not only we need a vice chair, I think we're going to need a chair, regardless of the result of the elections. I think it will be important that we kind of get new, fresh perspective, fresh blood, fresh ideas into the way we want to move forward. So I just wanted to open that up, and if someone told me right now I'm going for vice chair, we will say, great. Something that I've been thinking about, talking about capacity, and this is, the roles are important. You set the agenda. There's some meetings or discussions that you will have prior to the meeting or in between meetings. But I would say, kudos to Jasmine. She's been an amazing resource. But at the same time, she's like, it's our committee. The decisions are ours, right? She's staff for the town and doesn't run these meetings. And so we are the members of the committee. We are the one who needs to run meeting. We are the one we need to set agenda. We are the one who ultimately decide what direction we want to go in and what we want to do. So I just want to make it clear. Something that came in mind is, and I've seen it in many organizations that I've been part of, if capacity is an issue and people want to do it, but they are not sure they can fully commit to it, or they are not sure what capacity they're going to have, I want to throw out the idea of co-chair. That's another way we can operate. And I don't know if that will require us to go to the select board. I don't think so, because David, keep me honest, we decide who is our chair and vice chair and things like that, right? We don't go back to, as long as you're a committee member, we decide among ourselves how we want to govern ourselves. Is that correct, Paul?
No, I've never.
I believe that's correct.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we do that, but I don't know how a co-chair. I don't know about the co-chair.
No, we've never done co-chair before, but I'm just thinking if someone is concerned that capacity could be an issue and they don't want to be chair or they don't want to be vice chair, maybe having a co-chair would be a good way to, like, if Paul is a co-chair and then Jorge, if Paul and Jorge are co-chair, this month Jorge will run the meeting, next month Paul will run the meeting, and vice versa. Like just a way to, so it will serve two purposes. Number one, it will lighten the burden on a single individual, but number two, it will make sure that we have some kind of continuity. So we can have a co-chair and have a vice chair. So that way we have three people in position of leadership, so that the succession plan is very clear. Yes, Donna. Are you muted?
Yeah, the dogs are, I have to keep it muted. I'd be happy to do co-chair. What's scaring me is if I'm reelected to a library trustee, because I am running, I'm supposed to be the chair of that. So I don't want to take on more than I can do. I think being chair of two organizations would be too much. But I'd be happy to run for co-chair and help, not co-chair, the assistant chair, I'm sorry, and help out the two co-chairs. I think that's a good idea. I just don't want to bite off more than I can chew.
Yes, and the way I was also thinking about it is just to not scare anybody. I mean, there's some commitments, but and I actually share some of this with Jasmine during our weekly touch base. I've been thinking, and this committee is going to have to decide, capacity, and as we fill these positions, where do we want to put the most energy? I mean, we put a lot of time and energy on event planning. I suggest that as we move forward, we try to have a paradigm shift and really get into a recruiting of volunteers. Not because there's a lot of people, and we look at an event like Pride that we did last year. There were more non-committee members on the committee than committee members. The Black History Month celebration that Johan did this year, I think we were I think it was 4-1, the non-committee member and the committee members. So they were just regular folks who are not member of the HRC, but who were able to commit to that 1 month of planning to get this event done. So if we have that kind of paradigm shift, we can have one committee member and 5 residents who are planning an event. And that way it frees other committee members to do something else. And we can focus more on policies and just like, things that will not be like just event planning. So that's definitely a discussion we need to have and something we need to highly consider, so we don't get burned out with like event play. Because when I was looking at what we've done and the events that we do, I mean, we bring together thousands of residents a year to our events, and that's amazing. And I think that's something that needs to continue. I think that's valuable for the town. I think that, it is needed, but at the same time, how do we continue to build capacity to continue this event and do many more? So I think shifting and having this model will be very helpful. Any comments, thought, idea? If not, I'm going to start choosing volunteers.
Can you just clarify? So, really, to elevate what he said, like, I am not responsible for how you run your committee per se, but I do feel responsible for holding the structure so that you can come back to it as, in a position that is supposed to be more consistent, right? Like your chairs and terms end in turnover. And I don't know that Dee said it explicitly, but he is up for reappointment this year as well. He's the 4th person, and that chair, his term as chair is also coming to an end this year. So just again giving insight into that structure. I'm curious what the process is for identifying another chair. Is there, like, what has it looked like in the past? Do you all put names forward and then move, like, wait in one meeting and then you move to a vote in the next meeting? That's my question. And then to put into perspective our timeline right now, it's April, obviously. You typically meet May and then June. And then you typically take July and August off. So just thinking about the timeline that you all have, people, that term completes in June. And typically by June, it's the first meeting that we're we bring in the clerks. Like I say typically, but like last year when we did this, clerks came in and appointed people, the new people in that June meeting. So I'm really just thinking about that. What do we need to know about the process of selecting a chair to kind of stay on that timeline?
There's no space. The process is very simple, and it's not just for the HRC, it's all the committees and board within the town. After the new year starts, which in this case is the fiscal year, the first meeting, the meeting selects the chair. So there's no, and you don't have to campaign, you don't have to say you're going to do it the month before. We get there, and then someone can nominate themselves, or another member can nominate someone. They accept the nomination, and then we proceed with a vote, and then you become chair. And if you have to rearrange your chairs, you do. If you have, like, some people want the chair to be in the middle, but we don't have to do anything prior to that, because telling you don't know who is going to be at that meeting, so we can't be voting without knowing who the members are after the reappointment. So the reappointment happens first, and then that first meeting after the reappointment, someone put themselves out there, or someone gets nominated, and that's how the chair gets picked. I don't know if that answers your question or not. Yes, Paul.
When do the actual reappointments take place? Hello?
The reappointment takes place in June.
What time? When in June?
The select board, I think usually the town manager puts it on the select board docket for their June meeting. I don't know if it's the first meeting in June or the second one.
Yeah.
I don't know that it's standardized, but I think we did it the first meeting of June before select board, so we could have them sworn in officially by the clerks again in that June meeting.
Now, just out of curiosity, who's up for reappointment?
Sherpa, Johan, D, and Dr. Charlie.
Okay. What happened before, and David could back me up or not, but since I've been on, we used to choose a new chair in June, but I never knew when people were reappointed. To be honest with you, I didn't know what month or whatever. And actually, that during those days, now I've been on since 2007. The chair changed automatically almost every year. It's sort of like the selectmen do it, but sometimes they don't. Now, when Dee got on, he did such a heck of a job. We didn't want to change it, so we just didn't have to. A couple times I think we've had elections, but we're happy with the chair, so it could stay that way too. There were no rules that you couldn't be reelected as chair consecutively. So then I think that still stands. So we've got a situation right now where we may have to vote for a new chair before June, if everything goes the way we'd like it to go. Now, and we also could do a vice chair, or we may end up hanging on for a while. You know, I don't know whether we should have to do anything right now. I think we better toss this thing around in our heads about whether we want to deal with co-chairs and then a vice chair. Okay, that's got to be discussed at some point a little bit more than we have right now. I mean, we're sort of at the end of a meeting here, and we need some time to think about that one. I've never thought about that. So go ahead, Jasmine. I'm sorry.
Hold on, Jasmine. Let me just clarify something for Paul. And I totally agree with you, Paul, that this might require more discussion and thought. And I think that the next HRC members, so after the reappointment, that would definitely be the topic of a discussion. Maybe at that first meeting where we decide in June, okay, do we want the co-chair or do we want one, or someone can step up and be chair? But I just want to make it clear that regardless, my intent, regardless of what happens in May, my intent was to step down from the chair.
Right, I understand.
I've done it for a long, long time. So and again, HRC is my bread and butter. I'm not going anywhere. You guys can kick me out if you want. You'll still see my face. I will still be involved. But my intent was to step down as chair starting next term. So regardless of if this a member of the HRC or a member of the select board, we will need a new chair. So that's the first thing. Or co-chair, whichever way the committee will decide. The other thing is, if someone were to step up right now and say they want to be vice chair, that's a vacancy. We can do it right now. So if there's someone who wants to be a vice chair, that's a vacancy. Now, if in May, let's say I'm not at the May meeting, where the meeting can still be run. Remember, as long as we have a quorum, we can have a chair for the meeting. Like, I don't have to run the meetings. I could have been here and say, Dr. Charlie, can you run the meeting for me today? That's okay. So it's not a problem having 1 or 2 months without a designated chair. That does not stop the meeting from getting run as long as we have a quorum. But I just think that we want to think about it in a very strategic way, and even, like I said, our role into event planning. How do we bring more capacity for those specific tasks? It could be helpful.
I just wanted to also, what Dee was saying about our vice chair, I wanted to elevate that as well. That, Kristen, there's a vacancy right now. So I encourage all of you to be actively recruiting people for this committee. And because no one has taken over Kristen's vacancy, that's what, as vice chair, that's what creates the opportunity Dutrichet is proposing. I know it's late and we're throwing a lot in the mix that some of you have not considered, but trust me, I've been thinking about this a lot. Of the people that are up for reappointment this year, that was 5, including Kristen. So we need to also consider how we're better staggering our terms for whoever is appointed moving forward. And you can find the term limits for the members of this committee at any time on the Human Rights and Inclusion Committee meeting on that webpage. The members, all of your names are listed, and your term limits are also listed as years next to your name. So I also just want to think for you all, as we're in this kind of strategic structural space, which apparently I love and live for, these terms, that's a lot of people. That would have been a lot of people to turn over for this appointment season.
Yes, Paul.
I agree with everything you've been talking about up to a point. Now, the only thing that I'm concerned about a little bit is I would not like to see the committee be without a chair or 2 co-chairs and vice chair through the summer, because things start right away, and we need to have the chairs working, because there's work to be done, and who knows what's going to come up in town. So we've got to have things. I think by the end of June, we want to be as close as we can, is having maybe not necessarily a full committee, but we should. We'd like to have a full committee, but at least have the chair or chairs filled and the vice chair, so that we're going to sail through July and August the best with full leadership.
I totally agree with you, Paul. I totally agree. Because the committee work doesn't go away in the summer and wait for the fall. It continues, and you're right. That's why I told Lieutenant Rob Sullivan, no more vacation for him.
Who's that?
It's an inside joke between Lieutenant Sullivan and I.
All right. Yeah, well, it can eat into your summer pretty quick.
Okay, perfect. I think this is great. But again, please think, and if you want to talk to me or Paul, who has been vice chair, or Jasmine, and just kind of have an idea as to what it takes. Please let either one of us know between Jasmine, Paul, and myself. We can sit down for coffee and just, if you want to do it but you're not sure, we can talk about it. And it's not, there's some commitments, but it's doable. And as we structure the meeting and where we put capacity, we definitely can make it work. So if you're thinking about it but you're not so sure, you won't know until you actually try. And
I'll add that
encourage you to.
I deeply rely on the leadership of this committee to supplement the capacity I have as a department of one. From the work that many of you have put in, there are plenty of you who are capable of stepping into either one of these positions. And so I really encourage you to think about this opportunity. It's like a plea, really, because I need that support. And every summer when you don't meet, I'm still working and still trying to move the committee work forward. And it's a lot. So really, like, whatever time you can give, think about that. And whoever else you can bring into this opportunity, make them aware, like, do that recruitment effort.
And also on a personal note, I mean, having been chair or being chair, I'm acting like if I'm not chair anymore, I'm still chair. Being chair of this committee has been the personal and professional growth that I have experienced, I would not have been able to get without it. I mean, it's changed me as a person. It's changed me as a community leader. It's changed me as a professional. And I would say, if you're thinking about it, try to experience it. I mean, just seeing it from the outside, you don't get the full benefit and the full value, because we're already doing the work anyway. So just throwing it out there. Perfect. I think the DCAT people are probably saying we gotta wrap this meeting up because we've been here 2 hours. That was the last item of the agenda. Any new business? Yeah, none? Okay. Well, this will conclude our meeting. The next meeting is going to be Monday the 29th, and that's going to be a Teams meeting, so it's going to be a virtual meeting. And then we will resume our Monday meeting in May. With that, I wish everyone good night. We're going to do a roll call to adjourn because we're on Teams, so we have to do a roll call to adjourn. Oh, another quick note on the new business that I forgot. Town elections are April 27 from 10 to 4 at Town Hall. That's early voting. And May 7 at the high school all day. So please, if you're watching, make sure you vote. It's important. Exercise your civic duty. And I would need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay, so moved by Paul, second by David, third by Donna, and I will do a roll call. David.
Aye.
Donna.
Yes.
Yes.
Bill.
Aye.
Jorge.
Aye.
Sherpa.
Aye.
Dr. Charlie.
Aye.
Paul.
Yes.
Karen.
Aye.
Johan, I think she probably got disconnected, and I am I. So good night, Danvers. Thank you for watching, and thank you. This was a very productive meeting. Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Good night.
Right.